Live from the House of LeMay Makeup and Dressing Room.
Here comes Amber. Stop what you're doing. Here comes Amber. She's just doing what she can. Here comes Amber. Cue the spotlight. Here comes Amber with 2 drinks in her hand. The matriarch of fashion, secrets to her glasses, you can't look away. Ask her, does she do it? There's really nothing to it. She's got that feminine game. If you have a party, or if you're feeling naughty, call up the House of LeMay. Here comes your favorite gal. Here comes your queen. Here comes the talk of town. And we're live tonight. The music starts playing. It's time for cabaret. And we're live tonight.
A human leg was found on a New York City subway track, police said, sparking an investigation into who it once belonged to and how it got there. But in New York, this kind of thing happens all the time. Go check out the Department of Transportation's Lost and Found. It's a who's who of body parts and other body type sort of limbs and things. How do you think I was able to sell my take-home breast enlargement kit Boob in a box so cheaply? I just go down there and scoop up a couple of things. Anyway, I'm assuming that it was just some New Yorker trying to catch a train, jumped in, the doors closed on his leg, popping it off, and he figured, it's not worth getting it if I'm going to miss the express train.
Welcome to Amber Live TV. I'm your host tonight, Duane Scott Cerny, and we've got a great show. But first, like, share, and subscribe. And then we'll watch some news briefs. This week, a passenger passing through Chicago's Midway Airport found themselves THC outed by the TSA. This resulted in a vape pen concealed inside a tube of Colgate toothpaste, getting its 15 minutes of fluoride. Now, this hardly seems like news. Who amongst us hasn't pondered the pot in a tube of possibilities? I once considered Ben gay because Grindr said he was less than 20 feet away. So when Fox covered this story like it was Pablo Escobar's greatest drug smuggling score from beyond the grave, it just seemed dumb, like most Fox News stories. But when People magazine picked up this smokeless tale and further viral veracity ensued, it seemed even dumber. But now I'm thinking this was Colgate's plan all along. Talk about product placement, free publicity for the price of an airline ticket to Cucamonga. And since when did the TSA start releasing embarrassing traveler tales? What about some poor slob who discovers his fleshlight is not a personal carry-on device? Sure, I told them it was an emotional support fleshlight, but hey, my plea was flaccidly received. A vape pipe, seriously? What if we'd all taken gummies before boarding? Are urine tests to be number one worry? This sounds like something newsworthy out of the evil Soviet Union, Russia, or just another Fox News story. Speaking of Russia, how many people can you name who fought to get into Russia rather than out? Offhand, I can only think of one, Lee Harvey Oswald. FYI, rumors imply Oswald invented a revolving door made of iron curtains. Well, a family of 10, the Feenstas, mother, father, and 8 children, moved from Canada to Russia to escape LGBTQ plus ideology. 8 kids. Yes, apparently all afraid of rainbows, triangles, and three-ways. So, Feinsteins, Feenstas, whatever their name is, here's a tip. When your son starts obsessing about the jewels of the Romanov Empire and obscure Soviet show tunes, it's over. And when one of your children transitions into another sex, it's overture. Update, the Russian government has deemed the family's relocation to the USSR suspicious. All their money is now Siberian frozen, unlike their father's sperm. Mrs. Feenstra has since exploded across Soviet media in an anti-Russian rant, something Trump has never had, which went over like a lead Chernobyl radiation suit. Relating their Soviet difficulties, she said, "Where you have to engage logic in this country, it's very, very difficult." Again, she's Canadian. This is hilarious. You left poutine paradise for a Putin dice. And it's on a roll, blah, blah. Mrs. Feenstra has since apologized to the Soviets, saying, quote, "We're in it for the long haul. We got it. You know, like COVID." And that's the news in my briefs. Hey again. I think it's time to bring in Russell.
Duane!
Russell!
How are you?
I'm good.
How's Chicago?
It's dark.
Oh. No big fires?
No, we had a big storm last night, though.
Oh.
Yeah, it's too bad we weren't in it.
In it to win it. Anyway, if you want to win at Amber Live, you know what that means. You got to find the best place to watch. And the best place to watch is always on YouTube. And that's at youtube.com/Amber Live. And the reason for that is because on YouTube, you can see Amber and Duane and Rocco and the Boog and Shoog in full HD. And there's a chat room there where you can find all your friends talking about what's going on Amber Live and have a great time chatting with them, chatting with us. Duane may be there, Rocco will be there, Amber might be there, and I'm usually there. So we look forward to seeing you in the chat room. So that's the best place to watch. Now, Duane, do you know what it is that keeps us going every week?
Do tell, Russell. Do tell.
You've never heard me say this before, have you? The bustiers. We need more bustiers to help us pay those bills. Please use that Venmo at RJD Pro or go to amberlive.tv and look for the support Amber Live button if you'd like to use your credit card to become a bustier. And thank you to all our bustiers. You really are important to keeping everything going here. As you can see, Duane's working in Chicago and it's dark outside. They need to turn the lights on. So maybe the bustiers can pay Chicago's electric bill, but I doubt it. All right. So Duane, tonight's guest
is a ball.
Terrible, yes. And she's really good. Terrible is a drag queen who performs at 54 Below, and not many drag queens get the chance to perform there, so she's quite lucky and honored. And 54 Below, if you don't know, is kind of a basement of the old Studio 54, which we will hear all about tonight, both from Tara, and Duane has a whole history of Studio 54 that I'm looking forward to seeing. So, Duane, what should we do?
I think we should all watch part one.
Tara Bull started in 2018 at New York City's The Duplex, then going on to host the Tara Bull Show at City Winery. She moved on to debut at 54 Below, creating the popular show Broadway's a Drag, an all-drag queen cast singing Broadway's best show tunes with the all-drag band, the Bad Judies. Tara can also be seen on YouTube on the House of Giselle channel, where you can see her in Gays Guessing Sports, Gays Guessing Bods, and Too Big, a musical video she co-wrote and starred. We're going to talk about her next performance at 54 Below, June 21st. But first, let's take a look at some of her work.
I am going to do a song that's very dear to me, and I'm really great at impersonations. So I do a really good Bette Midler. Are you ready for it? Let's go.
There is no one here beside me.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Live singing. Live singing.
You sounded just like that.
Live singing.
Who needs that when you have Tara?
Single, he told me. Single my ass. Not only was he married, oh no, he had 6 wives. One of those Mormons, you know. So that night when he came home from work, I fixed him his drink, as usual. You know, some guys just can't hold their arsenic.
The greatest, but I gave it a semi-sadist. So I got a black eye, my arms and calves. Still that C4's a cutie. Well, it's not a peace guy in a beauty. When I dream of a place where we could be together.
Oh my, what a show. Tara, come on in.
Hello.
Hello there.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Now, I want to tell our viewers that no, that is not Lucy Bell. That is Tara Bull. So they might get confused with the flaming red hair. But thank you for joining us. All right. So where did you get your beginnings? Where did Tara Bull come from?
Well, my coworker at the time did drag. Giselle, she's my drag. She's not my drag mom. She's my drag neighbor. She lets me borrow a cup of wig every year. But she was putting on a benefit show for a coworker of ours. Their son had leukemia, and we did a drag benefit show at the Duplex. And I just kind of developed Tara Bull from there. I'm very much a caftan queen. My first wig was $10 at the Halloween store, and I tap danced with dildos on the stage. For my first number was Dicks Don't Grow on Trees. So very classy, very elegant. Tara Bull, you get what you pay for. The name's, it's baked in there.
How did you develop that? You did that benefit there at the Duplex. How long before you were doing it regularly?
So she, after that show, we started doing a kind of every other month show there called Category Is. And it would be Category Is Divas, Category Is Broadway, which kind of, started leading to other show ideas that I had. So every month we would do a different theme, which was great because that leads you into doing characters and doing different costumes rather than, just the same old thing. I mean, I can't do a split or a death drop if you paid me, and they don't pay me. So just little character bits, then and doing different nights really helped. Get different ideas. So I like old school Broadway. I like, older kind of references. So when we would have 70s night, 80s night, I love that kind of thing, Divas, I picked Amy Winehouse just because I can't do a Britney Spears song. It wouldn't match. So
I noticed in that clip that sometimes you lip sync and sometimes you sang. Which do you prefer?
Oh, well, it depends. I like singing if it's a character. The Bette Midler joke came up because that gig, the person wanted me to lip sync, and I was like, "Well, I can sing the song." He's like, "No, I really want you to lip sync." So I made the joke of, "Oh, I do great impressions," because I felt weird going on stage and then just doing a Bette song. But I love both. I love lip syncing because then I can make a joke, do something. Usually lip syncing is when I can get tips. So I guess I would say lip syncing.
Who are your drag influences? You mentioned Giselle. Who are some of your other people that you admire or that you kind of imitate or you steal from?
Oh, I like to say that I'm Divine and Tammy Brown together. Those are my two influences. I was lucky to grow up with a gay uncle, so I had a lot of gay influences in my life, and my mom was very progressive, so it was, here's Pink Flamingos, here's Rocky Horror Picture Show, you know, so Frankenfurter, Divine, Tammy Brown's wackiness during a lip sync. I definitely emulate her. She's my drag mother without her knowing. But I've worked with her during a Halloween show last year, and I'm such a huge fan of hers. So I find myself doing Tammy Brownisms all the time.
Tammy Brown was a guest on Amber Live a few years ago, so
Yes,
we got to know her, and big fan of hers as well. All right, you mentioned RuPaul's Drag Race, or you referred to it. What's your opinion of that?
Oh, I mean, I would love to be on it, but I know I would be first, second out, which I'm fine with. Anything to be on TV. You know, it's definitely very different than what it started out as. So I think the girls now, they really expect the death drops. They really expect the splits and skin, you know. You saw the video. I'm wearing the same exact thing as in those videos. I swear I have other dresses. But, you know, it's hard to get on. I've auditioned for them. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's kind of like they have so many rules, but they kind of want you to break the rules. But, you know, I will audition again when I feel a little more ready for it. But watching that video and see that I really only have about 5 dresses, you know, I'm a little underprepared, but, you know, this is the whole thing. You know, you learn, you evolve, and also you don't have to be on that show to be famous. You know, Varla Jean, Coco Peru, there's people who are famous as hell. Lady Bunny, you know, there's so many drag queens that are not just a RuPaul Drag Race girl, so,
right.
And me.
Well, the ones you mentioned are the ones who go out there and they don't lip sync. They have a complete show of comedy and songs and choreography on their own. You know, they don't rely on just the death drops. I said, I can do one death drop and you'd never see me again. That would
once.
be it.
You can do it once.
Yes, and it would be a death drop. All right. How do you now? Do you perform regularly now? I know you have a show coming up, and we'll talk about that. But how often are you out in the public?
I'll do open calls sometimes. Wednesday night at the Spot, we'll have an open call, and you know it'll be 6 or 7 girls, and you just pick at random. You send them their song, you know, that kind of thing, and. The first time I did it, it was hosted by Skywalker, and she's a great host. And I was so intimidated because all the girls were death drops and splits, and they were so great and had reveals. But I did comedy. I did a comedy lip sync, you know, mashup of a couple different songs and such. And I killed because I was the only girl who was there to be funny. And it's kind of like stick with what you're good at, and you know. If your bit is, you know, I'm kind of like a glamour housewife. I guess that would be my. And, you know, I like doing funny things, and I perform there again. Oh, it's buffering. I don't know if it froze on your end as well.
You did freeze. So why don't we take a break here, and we'll be back to talk about your show coming up at 54 Below.
This is such a great interview, and I love the history of it, and that Tara Bull is playing in a, well, once maybe not so terrible place. And I'm going to give you a little history on that. So you want a bit of Studio 54 history, eh? Well, buckle up, and I mean your pants. Studio 54 left an indelible mark on the cultural landscape of its time. From its extravagant parties to its infamous celebrity guests, the club was a symbol of excess and liberation during the disco era. In April of 1977, Ian Schrager and Steve Rubell opened New York City's Studio 54 nightclub in a former CBS soundstage, and the world was never the same. Over 4,000 people attended opening night in a club that could only hold 2,500. Infamous, notorious, if almost unbelievable, Studio 54 would become the celebrity hangout of the decade, if not the century. I could tell you about the sexual hedonism, most notably in the balcony in the basement, or the drug use, or the O2 untouchable minors, or the many celebrities I saw there when I spent the night outside on the street. But let's talk about the club itself. The facts are mind-blowing. The lighting system alone took 3 employees to run, which included a dozen 16-foot flashing poles of light, a special effects cyclorama-type device which could project images of distant galaxies, volcanoes, even create weather inside of the club. An enormous backlit spoon and moon, sniff sniff, became the unofficial logo of Studio 54, a not-so-subtle drug reference. Over successive remodelings, the special effects became more and more spectacular. Moving stages, moving balconies. Bianca Jagger once rode a white horse through the dancing crowd in a semi-nude Lady Godiva outfit, and that image alone appeared in almost every newspaper across the city. Schrager and Rebell knew that the gay partygoers would initially make or break the club, so leather boys and drag queens and anyone truly outrageous were the core audience. From there, however, it was celebrities, from Jackie O to Jack O himself, and every famous personality in between. Studio 54 was unquestionably the most incredible discotheque ever imagined. No one would ever top this short-lived mega party. As referenced in the film Studio 54, ownership of the club would end for Schrager and Rebell when they were busted for skimming oodles of cash in 1980. It reopened and closed a few times, but the party, as parties always do, finally ended in 1986. Schrager went on to further success, if not a bit more honest, with the opening of boutique hotels around the world. Steve Rubell succumbed to AIDS in 1989. For more fun, watch the Studio 54 film where Mike Myers, of all people, gives the performance of a lifetime. Equally impressive is the film's soundtrack that documents both the club and the era, with the timeless disco classics such as I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. And, you know, for a while, some of us actually did. I just know many of you want to support this show, and I think the best way is to see the Amber Live shop. And we've been working our butts off on all kinds of products and funny and wonderful and fantastic that you will not find anywhere else. So we've got cups and t-shirts, all kinds of things. Again, you won't find them online, no place but here. Buy something, support us, keep the lights on. And now, part 2 of this incredible interview.
All right, I think we have things cleared away. So Tara, come on in. Yes.
Hello. Oh my God, here I am.
You're looking much, much better. Thank you so much for your patience. All right, we just saw a clip of the history of Studio 54, and your next show is going to be at 54 Below. Tell us about that.
That's the basement where they keep all the drugs for Studio 54. So I used to work there, and we would have a staff show, and I did drag as my talent for the staff show, and I had a idea for a show, Broadway's a Drag. I just kind of liked the title of it above anything, and they let me do my first show last year, and it was a hit, so they booked me for 2 shows this year. I'm hoping for more, and it's just all drag queens. It's all drag queen band, and we do all Broadway songs. I mean, you know, you can't trust a drag queen with anything. So you tell them Broadway only, and of course they come at you with, you know, some song that has nothing to do with Broadway. But still, for the most part, we do all Broadway songs, and I like to come out. I host it and I sing as well, but I like to come out as some kind of iconic Broadway role or gag. The first time I hosted, I was the chandelier from Phantom of the Opera. And I made, you know, I had a gold dress my friend made, and I made out of hula hoops and pull light up things. And just, arts and crafted up. And I came out with a big chandelier and I said, hey, I'm out of work, since Phantom closed. And then the second time I hosted as Little Edie from Grey Gardens, and I, had the sweater vest the whole time. And this next show, I'm going to be Frankenfurter and host as the iconic Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror, one of my favorite musicals of all time. So I have a lot of fun with the show. I like to think I don't like Broadway, and then I realize I'm singing, all Broadway songs, and I'm like, oh, I love this one. So it's really fun, and it's great having different queens on, and what song means a lot to them, and seeing them perform that song. That's great.
Well, how exciting. Tell me some of the other songs that'll be performed.
We have, for the next show coming up, it's kind of a mystery because, of course, you ask 9 drag queens, hey, can you get back to me? It's like smoke signals, eventually. But I've done Somewhere That's Green as Audrey. Rent, I Want to Go Out Tonight, performed by Lyra Vega. She's our pianist extraordinaire. We have great songs like Funny Girl. No matter what show we do, 2 drag queens are doing a number from Funny Girl. So I love that. I mean, I would love to do, we did Cell Block Tango as a lip sync group number. I want to do The Name on Everyone's List is Terrible instead of Roxy Hart. We're kind of the classics. I love Sondheim, love a Into the Woods moment kind of thing. I think the next show, if they book me again, I want to do the opening as Miss Lovitz, as an audience, don't leave, and then sing, Wait Weather Rush, and sing Worst Show in New York instead of Worst Pies in London. So that kind of thing. For the most part, everyone just sings the songs straight on through, but I would like to do some parodies or a twist on that.
Very good. Now, performing in that building, Studio 54, it has such a history. I mean, I'm old enough to remember during its heyday. I was never there, but oh my gosh, do you get a vibe in that building of what it was?
Oh yeah, the ghost of party years past are in there. No, it's iconic, and 54 Below, they have the basement where the performance is, but their offices are on the 10th floor. So when you have to go up and down, you're kind of in the whole building, and it does have that cool historic feature to it. And the outside still has like the awning and the iconic 54 number on it. And it's kind of cool to think that I worked there for so long, and I have shows there, and I'm kind of just casual about it. I'm like, oh yeah, 54 Below. Yeah, it's at Studio 54 Below. Yeah, don't worry, it's right there. I was telling someone the other day, and they were like, well, they don't really do drag shows at 54 Below. And I said, yeah, I know, and I have a reoccurring show there, so ha. But it's definitely really cool to be there. And I always joke that the basement is, it was just full of drugs down there.
I can't imagine what went on there. The pictures are wild enough, but just to be there in person would have been something. You said you worked there for a while. What did you do there?
I worked as a waiter there. So I worked there for a while, and, and I don't work there currently, but I got the gig of Broadway's a Drag through working there and them knowing... I'm sorry. Them knowing me as a person and knowing that, I'm a hard worker and do my due diligence and seeing me do a show for the staff show showed them that like, oh, well, she's not just a crazy clown. I mean, I am, but she's not a total crazy clown. So after the first gig, and it was a big turnout, they booked 2 shows this year. 54 Below is booked. They're booked in till 10 years from now. They have shows constantly lined up. So to even get a gig there, I'm like, sure, whenever you need me there at 4 a.m. on a Wednesday, I'll do it if you let me have a show.
I know what you're talking about. One of our former guests, Christine Petty, has a show coming up there at Studio 54 Below. And that's coming up in March, and you can go online, and it's going to be live streamed. So if you go on the website of 54 Below, you can catch that and see it in your living room. You ought to talk to them about live streaming your show.
Yeah, I will. You know, that's one of the things I have to set up. But I live stream the first show, and it's great because they give you all the recordings too. So you know, you get to keep kind of your whole stage presence on there. And they got great cameras, and it's the Truman Show. There's cameras like everywhere. You think like, oh, I'll just sit here. There's a camera in the piano. There's a camera to your left, to your right. So it's good quality, and it's a great service. When I got a gig there, my friend who lives in California was like, oh, I'm such a huge 54 Below fan, because she's a big Broadway fan. And I was like, how do you've never even been to New York? And it was I watched them on live stream. So it's great to reach, audiences that way as well. I like this show as well. Anything, YouTube, it's so great.
Yes, it is. All right, give us the details of your show in June.
All right, so the one in June, it's June 21st. It's a Friday night at 9:30. You can get your tickets at 54below.com. We're leaning into pride. Yeah. I want it to be very gay. So no straight people allowed. We will check how gay you are at the door. No, I'm kidding. Well, everyone's welcome. But I'm going to be Frankenfurter, the gayest Broadway character of all time, maybe, behind Audrey to the plant. So it's going to be the Bad Judies. It's a 4-piece drag band. Lyra Vega, Mercy B, Worship Her, and Wesley. I love them. They're so great. They have a show every Monday at Red Eye in New York. So they're the live band. I'm the host. I kind of just show off just because I got the gig. But many talented girls. I try not to overbook, because there's so much talent in New York. I'm like, you're booked. Just get on my show, and then I'm over budget. But it's going to be a great show. I'm hoping it's a big turnout, so they give me more and more gigs at 54 Below, because they really do treat. I mean, especially for a drag queen, to have a nice setup where you can get ready, and it's not next to the mop bucket. It's an upgrade.
Done
that. That alone.
Well, Terrible, thank you so much for joining us on Amber Live. Good luck on your future shows, especially that one in June. Sounds great. I envy you to be in that building, and I hope to catch you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Who doesn't want to see more of Rocco? Well, me actually, but I know a lot of you do. So I think we should just let's see what he's up to.
Hey, look where we are! Hey, this is Rocco. Guess who I am? Somewhere in Vermont, but who cares about that? We're at Long John Silver's. You know how excited I am about this?
Yay!
They got the best fish and shrimp. Now, let me tell you something. They used to have it on Long Island, but then some asshole knocked it down. Now I gotta drive all the way to Hartford, Connecticut if I want it. But here we are in Vermont, and we're getting some fish. Come with me on this journey to get the fish.
Except you're in New York, but that's okay.
We're in New York, all right. I don't know why I was thinking Vermont. I don't know where the hell we are. We're apparently in New York. I then proceeded to order 4 pieces of fish, and I got this 15 pieces of fried shrimp for $10 deal. I was pretty happy. They put it in a Taco Bell bag. So here we go. It's been a year or so since I had a piece of fish from Long John Silver's. Fantastic. In case you're wondering, this is the best fried shrimp around, too. I bet you didn't know that. It's the best day of my life. Anyway, just want to share this with you guys. Don't judge me. Have a good day. Bye. Go away. Can't you see I'm trying to eat my fish? Bring Long John Silver's back to the island.
Love that Rocco.
Thank you, Rocco. What's an episode of Amber Live without Rocco? Perhaps one day we'll all get to experience that. but until then, God, you gotta love the guy, and you gotta love Boog and Shoog.
I heard Amber was at something called Drag Ball. That sounds so weird.
Agreed. I usually keep mine tucked in my underwear.